Okay guys, today we're going to be going over a whole bunch of bad horsemanship videos picked off of TikTok under the horse training search. So it should be really interesting. We've got a good variety of videos going up today. And in each one, we're going to talk about the horse's facial cues and body language, possibly stress indicators, and we're going to discuss why the methods being used are not beneficial for the horse, as well as some ideas on how we could have gone about solving this issue in a way that is more beneficial to the horse. So let's get started.
Something felt off. 10 minutes into our session, she's more reactive than normal. I push her forward, and when she stops, I ask her to come to me while I think. She usually crow hops when fresh, but she seemed more flinchy.
Did I do good?
I get my lariat and put it down her hind. She's already reactive. I'm careful and back away, putting on the slightest pressure. Immediately she explodes. I hold the pressure until she stops, also desensitized by swinging the rope. At the end, she doesn't care about it, which tells me it's not pain related.
Right off the bat in this video, we see this person saying that she noticed her horse was a little off, so she pushed her. Pushing your horse when they're off is never going to lead you down a good road. If your horse is off, we should stop, take a step back, and try to figure out why exactly our horse is behaving the way that they're behaving. Whatever that may be and whatever off means for your horse. Every horse is different, but we should never say, my horse is off, so I'm just gonna push them through it. They could have a nail or a piece of wire or something crazy stuck in their hoof that's making them off. They could have an upset stomach that day. They could have achy muscles from the workout you gave them the day before. We never really know. So to notice your horse is off and then to push them through that is the first thing I have a problem with in this training video. Secondly, she inserts a little voice in there where the horse is saying, did I do good? Because the horse has turned and is following her. But it's important to understand that traditional round pinning really only works because you're putting pressure on the horse when they're around the outside of the pin. And then when they're in the center with you, they get a break, a release. So they learn to stick close to the human and they won't have to work as hard. So this horse is not coming over to her for her approval or to say, did I do good? She's coming over to you because she doesn't want to be running around the outside doing this work any longer, probably because something is in pain. Okay, so the solution this trainer has is to take a lariat rope and put it around her hind end, around her flank. There's so many things wrong with this. First of all, you're really lucky that you didn't get kicked when you go to put this rope around your horse. And she even makes a comment about how she was careful doing it. So that's just something that shouldn't be put on the internet for people who are looking for ideas on training their problem horses to run into and think that putting a lariat rope over their back legs and around their flank is ever a good idea in any situation. So then at the end, she says, at the end, the horse doesn't care about the rope. Well, at the end of every session, horses will get into a point if something is happening to them that is stressing them out, and nothing they do changes that stimulus, they will give up and go into learned helplessness, where they just basically give up trying. So it might seem like they're okay with it, but in reality the horse is still very stressed. And we even hear at one point in this video this horse crashing into the panels when this lariat rope is tied around her. So she is obviously very stressed, and we can tell by the speed she's going around this round pin, the bucking, everything, that all signals to a high amount of stress. And it's a good thing that she didn't crash into a panel, get a leg caught through, break a leg, or hurt herself in any other way. So the last part of this, this person says that this horse's lack of reaction tells her that the issue that was making the horse off in the beginning was not pain related. So because you put your horse into learned helplessness and they shut down and everything appears to be normal, you then assume that your horse has no pain in the first place and that there was no problem to make them off. There's so many things wrong with this, I just really don't even know where to start. There's always a reason for a horse showing us a certain behavior. Always, 100% of the time. There's never a behavior shown that doesn't have a cause. So to go through this whole crazy process and then say that there's no problem because I put a rope around her and she stopped caring about it is so far from logical. I mean, I just wonder, has this horse been scoped for ulcers? Are we sure that our tack is fitting well? Are we sure this horse isn't sore from the day before? Did she just get her hooves trimmed and maybe that's why she's a little off? I mean, there's a million reasons that could be making our horse feel this way. So we should not just torture them with a lariat rope around their flank until they give up trying to make a stop and then assume that the horse is not in any pain. Because whatever was causing this behavior, since it wasn't truly investigated, is still there and will probably show up again the next day. Oh, the come to Jesus meeting. This term is probably the most used excuse and justification of abusing horses that I have ever seen used online. It's absolutely quite disgusting. And if you really think that Jesus would approve of how you are treating these incredibly smart creatures, I think you've got another thing coming, so we might want to examine that. Second off, this video is just a really good example of, again, learned helplessness. When we throw something like this on our horse, a hobble, by the way, which is not meant to go there, but okay, when we put something restrictive on our horse like that, they're going to freak out. And obviously we didn't get to see that wonderful part of this training clip. We just see the after, where the horse is standing there wondering, like, how long do I have to stand here with my leg up like this? You're not even trimming me anymore. So learned helplessness is never a good thing. It might work in the short term, but the stress that you are causing that horse genuinely makes them not want to interact with a human, period, which is going to lead to many other problems down the road. So anything, any trainer that you see tying up any part of a horse to another part is a huge red flag. I really just wonder when people are going to realize that justifying your horse absolutely losing its mind, whether it's its first ride or its 500th ride, is not cool. Like, this horse is in fight or flight. This horse's physiology really believes that he's about to die. So he's losing his mind, freaking out, trying to get himself back into a safe situation. That's not a good place, and I just really wish people would realize that when a horse is in fight or flight, so when they're showing us bucking, bolting, rearing, biting, spooking, any of those behaviors, they are not in a state of mind to be able to learn anything. So you're actually making it so much harder on yourself in the long run by not taking the time to introduce the things that you need for the first ride, such as the saddle, a rider, the bit, the bridle, if you're going to use a bit and bridle, and a person being above the horse. Like, all of these things need to be slowly and methodically approached so that the horse can remain in a calm state of mind and not go into fight or flight or freeze mode when we do that first ride, so that they can genuinely learn And guess what? If we take the time to make the horse's first ride a positive experience for them, they're going to want to repeat that. They're going to want to participate in future rides with us. But if we do the opposite, like this, and we try to make ourselves look very cool because we are on this bucking horse, we're making things harder on the horse and we're making things harder on ourselves. That is a horrible experience for them, and that horse is not going to want to be ridden in the future.
Side of training people don't show. Her tantrums when she wants to be done.
This fad of hard tying our horses and watching them freak out, it's really got to go. Hard tying a horse like this and allowing them to sit back is so damaging to the poll, which is the area right behind their ears where the spine connects, and all of the nerves and everything from the spinal column go into the brain. So it's a very sensitive, very important area. And you are letting the horse put their entire body weight plus all the force they're generating pulling back on that spot. So it can really cause lasting damage. And it's not really something that is funny. And this horse is certainly not just throwing a tantrum. She doesn't understand how to respond to pressure. And it is your job as the owner to teach her how to adequately respond to pressure before you just throw her in a situation where she's now going to damage her young body and have issues down the road due to this training method that is honestly just so negligent. It is not hard to teach your horse how to halter. It is not hard how to teach your horse to respond to pressure on that halter in a manner that doesn't require any freakouts like this. Okay, and this is not the horse's fault. By calling it a tantrum, we just seem to like place the blame on the horse, that the horse is somehow doing something wrong. But again, this horse is in a state of fight or flight. Her body really believes that she is about to die, so she has to fight this thing that's holding her captive by her head. She's not being bad. She's not throwing a tantrum. She's not having a fit. None of that is what is happening. We need to get this in our brains. When our horses react in this way, their bodies believe that they are in so much danger that they're about to die. So they will do anything to get out of that situation. We need to do better. So this one isn't a training video, but I find it incredible how much people simply can't recognize for some reason when a horse is extremely stressed. This horse in both of the clips that make up this video is frozen. He's stock still. He's got a classic whale eye. They're huge with the whites showing. He's freaking out. His head level is very high. When their head level is high like that, the body is producing adrenaline, so they're getting ready to enter that fight or flight state. We've really got to get better at recognizing the obvious and the subtle signals that our horses are giving us at all times in order to truly have the best partnership with them.
So when I saddled this horse up, this dun horse, I was wondering why is he kind of fading? He's kind of sitting down and stretching out his front legs like he's almost losing, like he's blacking out or something. And sometimes you have a horse that's got like a pinch somewhere, or they're just not used to that being sucked up because he's not really broke, he's very new. But then when I got on him and started riding him around, after a few minutes, I kind of discovered there was an issue. And he is willing to, that particular horse is willing to sit down in his hind end and go over backwards if you were to push him, or if you allow him to. He's very tight, and then when he stops and he won't go, what he's thinking of doing is laying down. As soon as they lay down in the back end, if there's a potential to flip over backwards and that saddle hit you, that can be extremely dangerous. I've had it happen to me 3 times in my life. Every time I was able to push myself away from the saddle, all by instinct. You don't have time to think when those things are happening. So I've been lucky about that, but I do not spend time on horses that have that issue. That is playing with your life. with major injury, and nobody really should, which leaves us to the question of what do you do with horses like this one that's not old. It has a habit that could kill people, so it's absolutely worthless in my opinion.
I just love how this guy is acting like he knows everything there is to know about this horse, but he doesn't even recognize that splayed out legs is a classic pain indicator. Okay, so ulcers, laminitis, and a host of other issues within a horse can cause them to camp out like that. And it's not because they're a bad horse or a dangerous horse. There's things going on inside their body that are causing them a lot of pain that we can't see. This horse displays a classic pain face throughout many of the clips of the horse by himself and of the horse with the guy on him. And we see that in his splayed out ears. They're going out to the sides. And then he's got very angular eyes at the top. There's a lot of tension through the side of his muzzle. And he's got a very tight lower lip. So all of those things are indicators of the horse experiencing pain. We cannot ignore these things, and we have to learn to recognize these subtle signals. Otherwise, things like this happens, where this guy has this beautiful horse with great conformation, but because this horse is displaying pain behaviors, this guy mislabels that as dangerous, and that this horse is threatening him to rear up and go over backwards somehow, even though he didn't do that in any of the videos shown. Maybe he did it outside the videos, I don't know. But regardless, this pain has been mislabeled. Now this horse is being called dangerous by someone who claims to be a trainer. You know, there are people looking at this guy, whether they're his own clients or people on TikTok or other people on the internet. And now this horse is labeled dangerous. So his livelihood is at stake now. Horses that are labeled dangerous end up completely unwanted. They're the ones that end up in the kill pens and shipping over the borders to be slaughtered in Mexico or Canada. Whereas in an alternate world, if this guy knew the signs of a horse in pain and knew that this classic splayed out leg behavior is a sign of pain, he could take steps to assess what's wrong with this horse. Let's get him to the vet. Let's get tests done. Let's see what's going on. Let's fix it. And then we might have an incredible riding partner. Because to be honest, this horse did nothing bad throughout any of these videos. The only thing he did was try and express to these people that he's in pain.
The old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And I have a little saying, I say, well, if you're smart, you make some bitch thirsty before you get there.
Oh, we have a Clinton Anderson fan. This horse is showing us classic signs of being terrified and starting to shut down. Her eyes are wide. She's obviously been run for probably an hour due to the amount of sweat and how heavy she's breathing. And her tail is swishing, which is an indicator of pain. So many things in this video are terrible. Also, we have the label hell bitch being put on her. And I just, for the life of me, can't understand why in the world you would ever speak something like that into existence about your horse. Do we not understand self-fulfilled prophecies? When we say something about our horse, just watch. That thing is going to become true. If we're talking about red cars, you're going to see 29 red cars tomorrow. It's just the way the universe works. I don't know. But we should not label our horses things like hell bitch or demon or any derogatory term like that. It's honestly just, it looks really trashy on you to do that. I don't understand it. That poor horse. It is never required to get your horse to that level in order for them to learn something. And in reality, if you understand the science and how horses actually operate on a psychological level, you're making it harder to train this horse to do anything by putting it into the state you're putting it in. So I just, honestly, as someone who started out with my training journey, learning Clinton Anderson's methods and believing it was the end-all be-all, I just hate it when I see people with potential to be great trainers get stuck in that stage and continue to treat horses like shit forever. It's not okay. It's not right. These horses don't deserve that, and they would learn much more efficiently if they were not in a fight or flight state when we are trying to teach them.
Working on coming to Jesus, thinking about wrestling with our roots, trying to turn off mama's tears and feel our daddy's boots, shutting up our pride, fixing bridges we burn, learning how to live and learn, keeping our demons down and our trucks up and running, loving and making sitting pretty in the middle of them, fighting with the man in the mirror till we gone. Yeah, that's what all us good old boys gonna go out working on. Gonna go out working on.
All right, this sort of thing is a fairly common type of video to see. This video says that this bay horse got used to scaring people with bad behavior. Now, in order for someone to scare someone else, there's a lot of forethought that goes into that. You know, like if you're planning on scaring your friend when they get home later, you're going to consider, okay, how am I going to scare them? Where am I going to go to do that? There's a lot of forethought. And horses, they don't have that big of a prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that is responsible for forethought. So they literally cannot do that. They can't scare people with bad behavior. If a horse is presenting a behavior, it is a direct result of a stimulus in their environment. There's no deception that goes on with horses. Zero. They can't do it. Their brain is not structured in a way that makes that even possible. So to say this type of thing about a horse, which I hear all the time, even with some of our sanctuary horses that we've picked up, people will say, oh, he's just fooling. Oh, he's just pulling your leg. No, that is not what is happening. Horses literally don't have the capability to deceive. This horse is just being honest. There's an underlying issue here. And again, instead of addressing that root issue and helping the horse through the problem, we choose to ride out the bucks and then share a video trying to make ourselves look really cool for riding this bucking horse. And you're showing him like it's really cool. And I really don't even want to get into how many pounds of pressure are being put in this horse's mouth right now and the damage that's doing to all the nerves and everything in there and how much pain that is causing this horse. This is not training. I'm sorry, but this is not training. We should not be posting videos and bragging about this type of behavior. It's quite disgusting. I'm not really even sure what the point of this video was because this horse's behavior just got worse as the clip went on. And I say behavior, but what I'm really saying is this horse got so stressed by what this person was doing to fix the bad behavior that it really made everything worse. So I'm not seeing it. I'm sorry. I don't know what jerking your horse around and jabbing into them with your awesome spurs is really doing for anyone, including the horse. I'm sorry you believe that food rewards can't fix behavior, but I guarantee you that food rewards can fix literally any behavior on the planet and do it better than whatever you are doing here, because when using food rewards, we take care to make sure that the horse stays in a calm and relaxed state, enjoys what they're doing, and is engaged throughout the learning process. What you're doing is the equivalent of putting a child in a straitjacket and forcing them to watch this educational video until they are screaming and crying their eyes out because they're so stressed they've watched this thing a million times. Or we have a child learning by doing that is engaged and willing to be learning what they're learning. There's a big difference, and the end result is also worlds different from one another. So cool. You should probably try out training with some food rewards, and it can fix these issues your horse is having, because right now what you're doing is just going to make your horse hate you. He'll start running from you in the field, and all your problems are going to get worse. So
Whoa. Hey.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag, ooh, the red, white, the blue. Oh, what the best they hate to the chill, ooh, the point the guy that I do now. Hear me,
Good girl.
I ain't no son of a
Good girl. Good girl.
Hear me, I ain't no father like one, no. Some folks are born silver's pulling hell, no, don't the hell found themselves, the next battle comes.
I really thought this one was pretty interesting, because even though this person is a traditional pressure and release trainer, they seem to not understand that if they are lunging their horse around with a bag chasing it and they let the bag off while the horse is still running away, that they actually just taught the horse that running is the right answer. And this happens a couple times in this video. Pretty interesting. We really shouldn't be doing these types of things in round pens like this. This horse is very scared. That's why they're bolting away, trying to escape all these threats that are all around them. And this is a really good way to encourage our horse to try and crash through or over those panels and actually end up injuring themselves. So it's just not very smart. There's a million different ways to introduce horses to things. They're naturally curious. So we can actually use that to our advantage by just bringing a new item out there and allowing them to investigate it of their own free will. I do this all the time with our wild Mustangs here at the sanctuary. You can put a tarp out in the field, sprinkle some hay pellets in it, and within an hour, all the horses have their heads under the tarps like they've been desensitized to it a million times. So confidence building is always more effective than desensitizing. And as we see by the end of this video here, this horse is standing stock still. Their eyes are wide and unblinking. Nothing is moving. Their lip is very tight. Those are all classic indicators of stress and indicating that that horse is frozen. They're in a freeze response. So it appears that your desensitization is working, but actually you're just causing your horse to shut down, go internal, and they're accepting everything that's around them because they believe they're about to die. Their body is in shutdown mode. So it appears that it's working, but in reality, the horse is still terrified on the inside. They're not learning anything. They're not learning that these things are not dangerous to them. They're not learning that they don't need to be afraid of plastic bags when we do this to them. They're just shutting down. So what happens over time is we continue doing this. We continue desensitizing them in this manner where they're just shutting down. And we think, dang, I've made a really good bomb-proof horse. Great. Then one day, something comes out of the blue and this horse explodes and blows up, and the human just can't fathom where this came from. Well, it's because we missed all these subtle signs that our horse is not truly learning, that they are just shutting down and dealing with the external stimulus that we are presenting to them in order to survive. So we really need to do better. Okay, that's it for this episode of Bad Horsemanship Reviews. Let me know if you learned anything. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Be sure to subscribe for the next video. I love doing these. We can learn a lot by watching what other people are doing and really taking note of the facial cues, stress indicators, and body language of their horses while they're doing X, Y, and Z. And make sure that we keep our horses in a calm state. And our learning and our adventures and our journey with our horse will go much more smoothly, and it will be so much more fun for both us and the horse. So it's a win-win. Okay, be sure to subscribe, and if you guys see any of these videos, send them over to me on social media at Kind Horse Training. I'd love to watch them, and I'd love to review the videos that you guys would want me to. Have a good day.